Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Prince of Persia 2008 walkthrough. Now, in this part we are going to head to, I believe it's the Sun Temple. It's kind of the first of the four areas of the Citadel. And, yes.
Ormazd, are you out there?
Sometimes there is too much quietness and it really does just signal that something's going to go hideously wrong. And this looks to be a case of that.
It looks quiet.
Don't say it's quiet. Don't ever say it's quiet.
It's a nice little bit of self-awareness about generic conventions with most kind of visual mediums. If it's ever too quiet, something's going to go hideously wrong. You see? Lemon typical.
I told you, never say it's quiet.
Indeed. Now, I believe that the hunter is voiced by Sebastian Croteau. One of the reasons for this is because he is also a voice in the epilogue, which there is an epilogue DLC to this game, which I wasn't really going to talk about that much, because we are going to cover it, but Sebastian Croteau appears in that too, and in the main game as well, and he is the voice of the hunter. He's really not been in a whole lot. I mean, he is some voice talent in Spore Hero. He did additional voices in Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands, and he voiced Freaks in Thief. And also, he was Marat Saint Martin in a TV series called Sauve qui peut. Yeah. I wish I had more on him, but there is basically nothing.
Yes.
Why do we always have to go towards the bad guys?
I have no idea what you're meant to be able to get from that, but that's the hunter's voice actor.
Good. I like playing fair. Any ideas?
I saw another plate over there. We'll have to get round to it.
Keep an eye out for our friend.
Now, one of the really awesome things about the dialogue options is that in pretty much every single area there is new stuff for the Prince and Elika to talk about. It basically just kind of really does emphasise that relationship, as I keep saying, but the fact that there's kind of so much kind of specific stuff is just quite awesome. Because generally when you have characters that talk amongst themselves, you get a few lines that frequently repeat. Something that I would say is particularly bad for that is like Xenoblade Chronicles, in that the characters during battle particularly constantly say the same things over and over and over again, whereas here you've got a lot of very context sensitive dialogue that you don't have to listen to, but which is quite awesome to listen to. Now, these black bally things, although really they're not that difficult to avoid for the most part. Obviously, if you aren't careful, you can very easily accidentally run into them, which leads to Elika having to save you. Like that. if there's kind of any cause of death other than falling in this game, it's probably accidentally running into one of those guys. It's just very, very, very easy to just accidentally land inside one of them.
I don't think he's happy to see us.
Now, whilst we're fighting the Hunter, I should probably say that each of the Corruptors has an achievement / trophy associated with them. I believe that the Hunter's is deflect 25 of the Hunter's attacks in a single battle. Most of them are kind of, I think, single battle things.
And you're an ugly mother too. What?
Oh dear, Prince.
I was gonna settle
So
down.
smooth.
How many more grounds are there to heal?
But yeah, some of them are a lot easier to do than others. I mean, deflecting is something that you should learn how to do anyway, so performing that on the Hunter is pretty easy to achieve. Some of the other corrupted ones are much more difficult to say. The Warriors is probably one of the most difficult,
Want to rest for a while?
because that involves avoiding his attacks, which I think requires you to roll out of the way. But
Want to rest?
it's certainly easier said than done. I mean, just look at that. This game really is beautiful.
But not at peace.
S.
Sky again?
You're still playing, dude?
Picked Sky again?
No, but you're getting a hang of the rules.
Oh, thanks. They're so complex, I was worried they might evade me.
This is the type of kind of female character that we
Scarf?
need
Shrine?
in gaming.
Ah, no.
I give up.
It's too soon to
Because
I give up.
even
give
though
up. Soulless follower
she
of Ahriman.
partially fits the damsel in distress trope, what with kind of, you know, we had to kind of partially rescue her from her father and help her out in stopping Ahriman from getting out. But she's kind of got a lot of kind of personality to her, and you kind of can believe her as a character. She isn't just there for the sex appeal, although I mean, it's kind of partially there with the costume.
Coming through.
But she just seems a lot more human than so many characters that you see out there. Also, we're actually really close to being able to go to the temple again to get our next power, which is really helpful.
Okay.
Now what?
And the reason I say that is because obviously the two fertile grounds that are either side of the Sun Temple, which is where we are, require a different power. And to make it a nice, orderly fashion of going round the area, we kind of have to get the power before we can do those. Otherwise we'd be curving round through the corrupted areas to get to the one which is right on the far side. Now, I'm going to be a bit of an idiot here in this fertile ground, for a very similar reason to what I did in the city gates. There is a light sea which you could see there, it was perfectly visible. Can't get those light seeds yet, but we can get the one which is just hanging off the platform that we are about to run to. I can't believe I missed it. Because it's very, very, very obviously there. I mean, just look, it's just sitting right there. Just off the edge. All I needed to do was just go hang, and it would have been mine. But 'twas not to be. Now, as we kind of progress through all of the fertile grounds and try and collect the light seeds, there are some of them which are quite long. I mean, some of them, particularly in the concubine's realm and in the city, they require a rather ridiculous amount of backtracking, which I am not a fan of. It's not the single most offensive backtracking I've ever had the misfortune of encountering, but it's certainly not the nicest stuff I've ever faced either. Because in a game which requires you to go back over so much of the stuff that you've already covered, the stuff that they make you do in the third and fourth areas is far more than you really need to do, and it's just a bit more tedious.
Here we go.
Now, I think that there may or may not be at least a few light seeds that are a tiny bit bugged. You're gonna see one of them shortly. Because sometimes you won't pick up the light seed even though you're pretty sure you've kind of run over it. I mean, I don't think any of them are kind of completely bugged forever, but some of them don't quite pick up when you want them to. And to be perfectly honest, I don't know whether I have mentioned this, but okay, now I know why I didn't get that one. And I can't believe I just ran away without real— oh dear. It's amazing what hindsight will do to you.
That's it.
Yeah, as I was saying, there are a few bugs in this game, but for the most part they are just generally funny bugs.
Yes.
I've not come across anything that breaks the game, other than it crashing a few times, but I suspect that part of that is to do with my Xbox, and the other part is to do with the fact that the disc is pre-owned. Because I had at least one other game that did something very similar, and that too was pre-owned. At least I think it was. My memory is very hazy of my early Xbox 360 purchases, other than Sonic Unleashed and Tomb Raider Underworld. I can remember exactly when I got those. Well, not exactly when I got Sonic Unleashed, but I remember the thought process behind getting Sonic Unleashed and so on and so forth. Which, if you want to find out about that, you can watch my playthrough of Sonic Unleashed, because I had great fun doing that. I mean, to be perfectly honest, anytime I play a game with a good story, that generally makes me happy. I mean, obviously, if the gameplay is duller than this, I'd say that this is probably my lower limit of how limiting the gameplay can be before I start to get bored. I'd say kind of like Kirby's Epic Yarn would also fall into that category of nice, simple, easy gameplay that is just engaging enough to not bore me, but not of the most truly engaging quality. So kind of a story, a really good story can help in those matters, as can a phenomenal soundtrack. I mean, it's been said many, many, many times before, but like one of the saving graces of, say, Sonic 06 is its soundtrack. A good soundtrack can, and a good story can save dull games. Unfortunately, when at least 2 of the 3 are missing, they are really bad.
No, you have taken from me what you will. You shall have no more. No! I have lost her.
Father?
Lost. Gone from us.
I'm here. We can stop this. If you come, if you help us heal the land. Father, no!
And so we have to fight the king again, although this time he has begun to completely lose it. Now I will go into the king's voice actor kind of at a later point. I don't want to completely run out of facts for this game so quickly, because even though we've kind of met everybody, we've still got quite a lot of this game to go. So I'd rather not lose my single factoid that I have about the king, although I've got 1 or 2 more.
Don't know what he'll do.
The king is essentially a recurring boss fight in the same vein as the Corrupted, but you will only ever fight him in the temple.
If only I could do those things without those plates.
Just think of the places you could break into.
I think the term is tomb raiding. Glamour's reclaiming.
Yes, that is indeed the term.
Aura have just picked one power and stuck to it.
That is why Lara Croft's games are entitled Tomb Raider.
That's what the text
It's
says.
just a lot more pleasant when there are actually tombs being raided in my Tomb Raider.
How will you get your
No, I have not become slightly bitter against the reboot.
Let them know that Armin is held safe.
I
Their duty
honestly
calls them.
hope that
Been
the
thinking about that for a long
sequel
time.
improves
Don't
matters
have any
somewhat,
answer. Only hope.
because I want my Tomb Raider back. Thank you,
get some help?
Squeenix.
Now who's being
That would be great.
You tell people about Armin, people are going to want to stop him.
And how many others would come to free him? To seek the gifts he promises? The 2 of us might save this land from a god, but we aren't strong enough to stop men. Not on our own.
Ah, that ever wonderful horror that is mankind,
And in the royal palace.
ruining everything everywhere. Now, to get to the other areas in the Citadel, we need to get the Wings of Ormazd, which is my least favourite
No.
kind of power in the entire game. Because, as you can now see, you essentially have control wrested away from you. The only thing that you need to do is kind of move up, down, left, right to dodge oncoming brickwork and objects. And I don't know, it's pretty much the dullest power, but then also it's slightly difficult to focus on, because of the effect that's kind of created around it, and sometimes they're going upside down and all around, and it gets slightly nauseating. Like, all of the other powers work really nicely. This one is certainly the weakest of the batch.
Nothing trying to kill us. Grass under my feet.
I don't exactly see grass, dude, but I get where you're coming from.
Nothing. It's great, isn't it?
And so, as you may expect, having had us go to the temple before, we're going to see a little bit more of that dream.
You know what it is that I ask.
Just because we saw that doesn't mean it will be true. The vision of you falling. Armin's trying to...
The visions aren't from Ahriman.
But they don't have to be true. No one can tell you the future. Hey, are you okay?
Something about Elika's face tells me
sold his soul to...
He hasn't.
that wasn't about the future.
Corruption is eating away at him.
Then that can
It's an
happen to
excellent
us.
piece of animation, just kind of slightly
You said your father had
vacant
acted
look
strangely.
off to the
Maybe Ahriman
distance.
got to him before this.
My father is king of the Ura, a follower of Ormazd. He did not sell his soul to Ahriman.
Well, I would say that that's arguable, considering, you know, he's
Saw your father startled.
getting covered in corruption and is starting to go a little bit more crazy than he was
But
before.
what he did not do for Ahriman.
If Ahriman was controlling
Well,
your father, it could be
next
good
time
for
we are
us.
going to head on back to the Citadel and do more of the fertile grounds with the hunter in them, so that's going to be fun.
200 years after
Yay!
civilization left.